With recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we have our friend Arvina Martin, and Arvina Martin is the first Native person ever elected to Madison, Wisconsin's Common Council, and was elected vice president in 2020 by her peers. Arvina is an enrolled member of Ho-Chunk Nation and is Stockbridge-Munsee and has worked with Native communities throughout her entire career. And we're always really blessed to have you on and get a perspective of, well, you're our political analyst, so get a perspective on everything. So Arvina, Big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for being on as always.
Oh,
sorry,
did you hear me?
I had you muted. Sorry.
Sorry. Just saying thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Really, I don't know if Wisconsin goes through the same kind of things that we do, but tonight is a big night and a first step in the process of getting our elected officials in the next process. This is our caucus, and then we'll be picking people to go to the caucus in the summer, and then voting on who the area wants us to represent. And of course, you know, we have Peggy Flanagan and Angie Craig that are the big numbers here in Minnesota and what's happening. But it's just great. Wendy and I will be there, and we love doing the process and getting involved. It's one way to get involved.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, we don't do caucuses the same way. And we just have people go to their county party meetings, and then they, come to our state convention. And so we do it a little bit differently. And I was looking at the information that you sent me, and that's a pretty great, I think that the caucuses can do, and like caucusing can do a lot in terms of like bringing people in if they're done correctly. And, I think anybody that's out there that's listening in Minnesota that wants to get involved, this is another thing that we're going to have to do. We have to, in terms of fighting back against everything that's happening, getting involved with the DFL is a really good way to stay in the loop, stay informed, and be able to help vote these people out. Which is another story, should we have elections again, but I yes.
Well, it's funny that you should say if we should have elections again, because I think this is the first process too for us to be all hands on deck in a sense to see the process and make sure the process is run and get used to the process. I use too many words, too many processes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. These structures are in place, and I don't know how long, but I'm assuming established and been in practice for quite a while. This is another way to resist. And we need all of the ways. We need people resisting in all of the ways. And, so if you are someone that has been driving supplies and you don't have the bandwidth, it's okay to sit out. If you are someone that hasn't been able to get to any of the events, going to your caucus meeting, which I believe you said it was tonight at 7 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah. And going and being able to see, be a part of the process, make the changes that you want to see happen, and make sure that your voice is heard, and that the Democratic Party hears you, because and the DFL hears you, because that's folks need to hear that. Folks need to hear people's concerns, and yes, we know that we know them because it's been through in the news and everything, but going and helping at this kind of organizational level, getting involved with being able to shape platforms, resolutions, policies that the DFL will champion, being able to help pick primary candidates that you like, that you want to make sure makes it to the general election. This is the time to start getting involved and make sure that you are learning the process.
Yeah, wow, great words. I couldn't say it any better. I know in years past we've brought resolutions too, and this is the time to bring resolutions. There's an attack on the boundary waters right now here in Minnesota. And we always have resolutions that either have to do with our sacred animals or have to do with, Native Americans and support. And so it's a time, really a time that you feel more grassroots than any time on the bigger, smaller stage.
Yeah, and obviously, like, this is a way I personally feel comfortable being involved because I understand, in Wisconsin, I understand how our processes work, and know how to get things through so that they're seen. And I think that, and we can talk about this more later, that we are going to have to be on guard as Native people for our tribal sovereignty, based off of that final State of the State speech that Governor Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma gave. And we should be concerned that that's just the beginning, and we should be prepared to make people aware of what tribal sovereignty is, what treaties are, why they are the rule of law, and why we are the only ones that have them. So, getting involved now, making sure your voice is heard, the voice of your community, of your tribe, your urban Indian community, all of it. We need your voices.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that speech, maybe next segment, but we have a couple more minutes here if you want to squeeze it in, because that kind of blew my mind. I had to share that out on social media.
Yeah, I mean, just as a teaser, Governor Kevin Stitt delivered his final State of the State address. I believe it was yesterday that he did, and actually said that we have to do something, because these Indians get special rights. And that makes it's not fair. Not everybody's not under the same rules. And he purports to be an enrolled member of, is it the Cherokee Nation? I can't remember off the top of my head. But
Yes.
and he's like, well, I'm Indian, I can say that kind of stuff. And we know that it's not like a single Native person can just like get rid of treaty rights or anything like that. But I do think that it's kind of a, maybe a canary in the coal mine moment, and we'll have to worry about Republican legislatures, and governors. And, I'm sure if Trump gets a hold of this, he'll throw us under the bus again, and do this and try to do the same thing to us.
Well, in the response of the address, their principal chief of the Cherokee Nation said that Hoskins warned that the rhetoric effectively calls for the termination of tribal government and emphasizes that tribal nations are not race-based entities, but sovereign governments grounded in treaties, federal law, and centuries of legal precedent. So I'm really happy that you brought that up, because that's something that we need to talk about and be aware of, and that's what's great about having you on the show. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're here with Arvina Martin, our what we like to call political consultant, and you can get Arvina to work for your organization too. We'll talk a little bit about that next segment. Thank you. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present. earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota Private Colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are here with our friend Arvina Martin, our political consultant here on Native Roots Radio. And Arvina, I just want to, I follow Gavin Newsom for president on social media, and whoever's working that site for him is unbelievable. There's 4 or 5 things that come up, and I just want to read this other one because I kind of feel like it really hits me home. It says, not to brag, but I was opposing ICE way back when they were still calling themselves the Ku Klux Klan. I love those guys. Oh, you're muted again. Did I do that? I must have did that accidentally.
I was going to say, I feel like, having good social media is key, and getting people to like catch their eye and help them maybe think about something in a different way, oftentimes in a more humorous way, because especially during times like these, gallows humor is big. We have to laugh so we don't cry, and I've seen them, I've heard people say that, the folks in ICE are the ones that were or are in the Ku Klux Klan that couldn't get into law enforcement. They're the direct descendants of the slave catchers from the Civil War area, or from the area in which slavery was practiced. I get it. Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Don't forget January 6th. I think a lot of them from that too that were part of it. And there's also information out there that one of the leaders of, I think it was the Bad Boys or whatever they're called, he is definitely working for ICE now. And they have to get those masks off. Who cares about these cameras they have? And Democrats really need to step up, and some of the Republicans have to too. And it's maddening right now, but we're paying attention, and I think more people are paying attention now because of the brutality that's happened here in the Twin Cities and the whole state of Minnesota, and plus nationally. So I have a good feeling. I really do, and we just got to keep the momentum going.
Well, and we saw last week there was a congressional, or there was a candidate that won a special election, and that district had gone 2 years ago had gone it supported Trump with a +17, and so this should have been a very solid conservative district, an easy retaining seat for that person and for the Republican candidate, but the Democrat came in and won by 15 points, I believe. And that is like a seismic shift. And I think it shows the displeasure of the populace at large, the population at large, to the things that are happening. And I think it's a monumental, it is a monumental switch. And which is part of the reason why I'm worried about the future of elections, et cetera, especially given that Trump had mentioned nationalizing an election administration. So lots to talk about, and you're right, we have to stay involved, stay talking to your elected officials at every level, and stay on it, keep messaging things, so people know that, that you do care, and you care enough to email multiple times, that you care enough, it's not something that you have to do, but getting a hold of your elected representation is always going to be a good idea. And
Yeah, we know that personally, with Wendy and her animal segment, and talking to the people about, these places where they just board up hundreds and hundreds of animals, and so we've been up to the Capitol, and they do listen, and they do pick up their phone, and somebody's saying, because for the most part they want to get reelected, and then on the other part, if they're not running for reelection, all of a sudden they change their tune too, because they don't really care if Trump or MAGA support them.
We have incumbents in Wisconsin that are not running, I think, for reelection at the state level. I do think that is also a kind of reading of the tea leaves, and showing that they are not confident in being able to retain their position, and win reelection. So again, keep it up. The elected officials keep track of how many people contact them and what they contact them about, because that helps them work on or support legislation that their constituents need or see a need for or support. But it also helps them figure out, like, when they're sending out their communications, like representatives, legislators frequently have like a monthly email that they send out, or a weekly email, and that helps them say, okay, everybody's asking about this topic, we'll make sure to put that in there, and it helps get your message further.
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting, this weekend. There was a jingle dress dance in both of the places that were within a mile of each other, of the murders, and I just can't say how much I appreciate seeing community, and also community supporters out there. And I just wanted to say a big Peeny Gigi out there again. Before I forget, and I want you to bring this up a couple times. You are, a political consultant, and you're out there for hire. And again, how can people get a hold of you, and talk a little bit about what you can do for their business or their school, or you've spoke at many places over the years, and helped navigate some businesses into a good way.
Yeah, I do a lot of trainings. So if your organization, particularly if you are like maybe you're a county party, or something like that, or a candidate, and you want to know how to appropriately work with tribes, I offer a Tribes 101 presentation that talks about the concept of tribal sovereignty and what that means, and why you have to work with tribal governments as peer governments, and also talks about organizing the grassroots style in Indian country, and how to do that appropriately, pitfalls that happen from people that are not prepared, and how to avoid them. I also can talk about anything related to political campaign. And if you have an idea, just find me on LinkedIn. My name, Arvina Martin. I'm the only Arvina Martin on LinkedIn. And get in touch with me, and I will see what we can do to train you or your organization. things like also like preparing for media appearances, public speaking, things like that too. I say as my cat walks across my laptop.
Yeah, we love cats. We love dogs. Yeah, always for many years when Wendy was on the show every night, we'd do this animal segment every fourth segment, and either our dog or cat would come busting in every time that fourth segment. So we welcome our sacred animals and our relatives to join in on the radio show.
Our little buddies, our little friends.
Yes, our relatives, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that's good to know. And Arvina, I've seen you speak and do these things. I was MC one year at I believe it was the Wisconsin Democratic Convention.
Yeah, our state convention that was held at in Oneida.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
them were the good old days when people reached out to me from Wisconsin to do things like that. That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the first place that I did my Tribes 101 presentation, and I know that you've heard this story. I believe you were there too.
Yep.
I was preparing and was very nervous about how this was going to be received and how people were going to relate to it and understand, and how, making sure that what I was saying was clear, and explaining a lot of high level concepts and things that take
In a full room. It was a full room too.
And who walks in right before I'd go was Ada Deer, and I got so much more nervous because she obviously we know that Ada knew her stuff. We also know that Ada would be, happy to tell me what I got wrong. And I didn't want to disappoint her. She was a legend. She remains a legend. She told me afterwards that I did a good job. And that's probably one of the highest earned compliments I've ever gotten was her giving me the seal of approval. So I hold that very close to my heart.
I'll have to look back because I do have a picture of you two talking right after that. So I'll have to send that to you and look back. Just we got like a minute left, and maybe if you don't mind, just to name a few things, because one of the things that she really did was get that one tribe reorganized or re-recognized. Could you just tell our audience a little bit about her, because she's a rock star?
Yes, Ada was a rock star. Ada ran for Congress in the Madison area where I live. I believe when I was in middle school or high school. She was a Native candidate. Her slogan was "Run like a deer." So that was pretty cool. And she also has served as the head of BIA. And yes, when the Menominee Nation status was terminated, she did tremendous work to get their status as a federally recognized tribe restored.
Yeah, just a rock star, and that was great to see both you guys embrace after that. And I got a selfie with her too before that, so just wanted to say that. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back with Arvina Martin, our political consultant. Oh, wow. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations, and Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org. Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota Private Colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Deani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist. The exhibition celebrating Whitehawk closes on February 15th, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Ever wonder how far you could go with a bachelor's or master's degree? Metro State University is hosting 2 open house events in February. Learn about our bachelor's degree programs on February 24th. Explore master's degrees, doctoral degrees, and graduate certificates on February 26th. Find out about financial aid options and how to apply. Discover how Metro State can help you take the next step in your career. Sign up today at metrostate.edu/open house. You belong at Metro.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 8, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 24. Go Dog Go, Vapero is going on now at Children's Theater Company. Get tickets today for this joyful bilingual musical where delightful dogs drive, swim, play baseball, and race to the big dog party. Get your tickets at childrenstheater.org. This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are here with Arvina Martin, our political consultant, straight out of Madison, which Madison, Wisconsin is one of my favorite cities in the world. Believe it or not, I would be probably living there if we weren't living in New York and the Twin Cities. But I love Madison and been there, I bet you, hundreds of times. Welcome back, Arvina. Oh, I got you muted again.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I love
something funny too. You probably said something funny too.
Probably. We'll never know.
Yeah. Well, just I guess what I think about is really resilience is what's happening. And I don't know. Did you happen to catch any of the Grammys this Sunday? But I appreciated all the people sticking up for Minneapolis, whether they're wearing a red whistle on their lapel or just saying that no one's illegal on stolen land like Billie Eilish did. And there was a couple, of course, Bad Bunny. I don't know. Are you going to watch Bad Bunny or Kid Rock? Let's see.
I know, right? I only know his Bad Bunny's song, Debí tirar más fotos. I apologize for my terrible accent. And I love that song, although it makes me cry because it's very sentimental and heartfelt. And I am looking forward to hearing more of his music and seeing him perform. I've never seen him perform before. So yeah, I'm basically, since my teams aren't in it in the Super Bowl, it's the Bad Bunny show. So that's why I'm watching.
Well, I guess too, truth be told too, I watch it, for the commercials and, I don't know, those old 2000 commercials back in the 2000s with all that money flowing with the internet and all these internet businesses pouring millions of dollars in there, that was the heyday of the commercials. There were some really awesome ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was like the end of monoculture, where everybody experienced something at the same time. We rarely get that anymore because some people watch things live, some people watch them, recorded later. Some people don't watch it until months later, and or are influenced, or how they react is colored by the reactions of people that they've seen, as opposed to like everybody seeing the same commercial at the same time, because the internet wasn't a big deal or as big yet. And so everybody experienced the same things at the same time. Everybody was watching the Super Bowl because that was what was on. That was what everybody paid attention to. And now there's like a million things to pay attention to.
Exactly, and, I was brought up with, 3 stations, and, 4 if you call, PBS, but I only watched, Monty Python, back when I was young, and, Sesame Street, just for and, well, Mr. Rogers too. Who am I
Yeah.
kidding?
Mr. Rogers was my commencement speaker when I graduated from college, and
That
it was incredible. And I was really happy that he was the one that spoke at my graduation. It was a very lovely, like a coda, I guess, to an experience, and just a reminder. I really loved that he was very Mr. Rogers-y about it, and was reminding everybody as we go into the world to do these things, to take care of each other and to, be good to each other. And, I was very glad that that was his message, because that was always his message, was to treat people well and to be nice and to extend kindness to people regardless. So yeah.
that was Dartmouth? Is that where you went?
Dartmouth College. Yep, I did.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
impressed. But hey, I went to the University of Minnesota. Go Gophers. Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm still a Badger at heart, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess too, part of the big reason why I love having you on the show is that, you're keeping, track of what's going on like, we all are here. What do you think the vibe is in Wisconsin about how, Minnesota's reacting to this? I am so proud of this state, and again, I'm used to like, protesting with a couple thousand people and some white allies, and now, everybody's on the front line, and I'm really, really proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I know here in Wisconsin feels the same way. We feel terribly that this is what you guys are going through, that this is happening in our country, period. But to our neighbors who we sometimes have friendly rivalries with, but it's always like the kind of rivalry with your brother or sister kind of thing, but deep down you always have each other's backs. And I think that sentiment is very widespread in Wisconsin. And we know a little bit. I do not want to say that this is to the same extent as what you are experiencing in Minneapolis and in Minnesota right now, but we have been the center of a protest movement when then Governor Walker got rid of bargaining units and collective bargaining at the state level, and that there was no violence there. We didn't have to deal with any kind of federal agency coming trying to kill us. But it was similar in that it crossed so many like artificial divisions that we have as people, and everybody just showed up.
Mhm.
So it was again like a collective moment. So we understand that part, but but just remain, hearts broken at everything that's happening. But at the same time, feeling an immense sort of pride over how you guys are reacting. And just people being on guard, paying attention, being at schools to keep an eye out to make sure that no kids or parents are being snatched at pickup or drop off, people running errands for folks that are scared to leave their own houses, and just all, and I think about things that like powwow grounds, being kind of a hub for the actions that are taking place. And I know a lot of tribal members from outside of Minnesota that have been going and bringing supplies to the cities. I know there's some Nebraska Winnebago women, Tyler Lemire and Sunshine Bear, and I don't remember who the other, I think Emmy Scott, went up last weekend, and I think are planning to go again. So if you live near Winnebago, reach out to them to see how you can contribute. I hope that Minnesota and Minneapolis feels the support and the pride and the love that we are all sending, even if we can't be there ourselves, because it's there. And as I've mentioned on this show before, I feel big feelings, and it's not hard to make me cry. This has made me, break down many times, because it's hard to picture that this line has been crossed of sticking federal agents against Americans and people that are not violent criminals, regardless of their immigration status. That 5-year-old in the bunny hat, I'm pretty sure he was not one of the most egregious committer of violent crimes before they arrested him. And so we all see it, and then we see them all lying to us about it. And it's just such a massive breach of the public trust, that I think that there are a lot of lines that we have crossed so far, but I think that there's more lines that could be crossed, and I hope we don't get there. And I think that Minnesotans, and what do you call somebody from Minneapolis? I don't know, but the folks from Minneapolis, I think you guys are responding in the best way, and in a way that's authentic to you guys as Midwesterners, as Minnesotans, as Native people, as descendants of Scandinavian immigrants, as union members, all of these demographics, people are showing up and are looking to help their neighbors, even if they don't know them, and that is what gives me hope and gives me optimism about things, is that the people are responding and protecting their communities in the way that they best can, and it's been lovely to see, though I do not wish the experience on anybody else, or on you guys, obviously, but you guys are all handling it with so much grace. And
I think we learned from George Floyd, from Dakota Access Pipeline, Line 3, all those things. All these organizations have learned, maybe by mistakes or not mistakes, but the way things are organized is unbelievable. And I am just so, we went from 50,000 protesters to almost 100,000 in the next Friday. So that was amazing. And again, so happy and so blessed to live in the cities here. I've always loved how progressive the cities are, and how many different people live here, and and so it's making us proud, and we gotta keep on pushing and make those racists afraid again and go back into the dark shadows.
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to mention is that I saw some conservative person posted on whatever social media platform about, oh, it's obvious that, this is being financed by George Soros, left wing, this is so organized. And everybody, the responses to that are like, are you kidding? Have you never been to like a church potluck or like been involved with the PTO? Like, we do this, like put up a sign, who's bringing hot dish, and like, I've got this, who's bringing what else. And I don't know that they have that kind of engagement on the other side. And I think that that's something that we need to hang on to, is that when push comes to shove, we are going to, and are going to show up. We are going to do what we can, to help fight against this violence that's coming to our communities from our own government.
Thank you, Big Peeny Gigi. Thank you so much, Arvina. We're going to see you soon, maybe a little later this week, maybe not, but we really appreciate your flexibility and coming in here and speaking the truth and supporting all natives and all people of the medicine wheel, really. Thank you so much, Big Peeny Gigi.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. Hey, up next, Wendy and I would be talking about caucusing and the sacred animal portion. We'll see you in a bit. Thanks, Arvina. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
Thinking about college? Consider Minnesota private colleges. These 18 nonprofit institutions keep the focus on students with small classes and professors who will get to know you. You'll find students from all backgrounds, and no two colleges are alike. And when it comes to cost, they're more affordable than you think. Find the college that's right for you at mnprivatecolleges.org/possible. That's mnprivatecolleges.org/possible.
Hi, I'm Tiergan. And I'm Hadley. We're two of the very first listeners, and we're still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio. I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
No. Hey, I want to introduce and reintroduce Wendy. It's been a while since you've been on the show. My awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy's been an animal advocate for many, many years and is co-founder of Native Roots Radio, almost in our 10th season. And we're getting fired up for tonight, huh?
We are. We're going to our precinct caucus.
Yeah.
We're caucusers.
Yeah. And
if
this
that's
is
what you want to call it.
And this is not our first time, but I just want to say to everybody, Wendy and I had our first time, and it was not that harrowing of an experience. And there's going to be many people down there to help you maneuver through this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So come out, find out where your caucus is and check it out. it's important to go and to find out what's going on and who's running for office and who's supports what, and just do it.
And
so
I know
it's our Democratic caucus, right? The Republicans don't have a caucus, do they?
I think they do.
Oh,
They do.
Okay.
But we don't talk about them because they're way outside the MAGA. The MAGA men. And we just want to give a quick shout out to our friend Peggy Flanagan, who's ahead in the polls, but everybody still needs to show up and vote for our sister, progressive sister.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I have a little story here about animals. I didn't introduce myself.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
everybody
I'm sorry.
knows, right? I don't have to say it.
Do it.
Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a policy volunteer for Humane World for Animals, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. So, yeah. So I have this article here. It's from Gentle Bird Moments. It's a Facebook page, and this is from approximately like January 24th. And they show a photo. So the photo is bald eagles, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 of them, laid out on a table, and it looks like they're sleeping. So that's what they're describing in this article. So the photo was taken inside the temporary triage room at the Wildlife Rehabilitation Facility in Upper Mississippi River region near La Crosse, Wisconsin. I think we've been there.
Oh, yeah, many times.
Yeah, so they help eagles. They go out and find hurt eagles, rehabilitate them, and let them free. The ones that can't be re-released in the wild, they keep them there. But let me just read this article. It's really kind of unbelievable here. So it's in La Crosse, Wisconsin, where our team has been working nonstop over the past several days. Remember, this is from around January 24th. What you're seeing on the table is not a routine intake. So again, there's a bunch of just bald eagles. They're all have their bald top. So we all know that they're over 5 years old. And they're on the table and they're laying down and they just look like they're sleeping. So what you are seeing on the table is not a routine intake. It is a line of adult bald eagles all recovering within a short radius along the river corridor, all showing similar signs of cold shock and acute stress after an abrupt temperature drop that caught both wildlife and people off guard. So we had like really cold temperatures drop really quickly, and these eagles are actually in shock from the cold weather.
Wow.
Yeah. Over the past week, daytime temperatures fell far faster than the forecast. Open water froze overnight. Fish moved deeper. Scavenging opportunities vanished. For large birds that rely on a predictable water patterns, that kind of sudden cold can be devastating. These eagles were found grounded, disoriented, and unable to regulate their body temperature. Several were discovered by local residents who initially thought the birds were dead, only to realize they were still breathing when approached.
Wow.
Yeah, what concerns our team most is not just the number of birds, but the timing. Mature bald eagles are resilient. When multiple adults are affected at once, it raises difficult questions about what is changing in their environment and how quickly. Some of these birds had no visible injuries. Others showed dehydration, slowed reflexes, and signs consistent with thermal shock after the trauma.
Wow.
Each eagle on the table represents hours of field response, transport, and stabilization. Warmth comes first. They give the birds fluids. Feeding must wait until their system can tolerate it. Recovery is possible, but not guaranteed. And for those watching from home, especially those who remember winters not being like this, it is unsettling to see a national symbol laid out this way.
Yeah.
There are not only isolated incidents, this is a warning, right? So we will continue to monitor, treat, and document what we're seeing, and we will keep sharing updates. And many of the birds did recover and were re-released, but that it was just that cold that it was just dropped so quickly, and it, again, it shocked everything and everybody. So,
shocked me.
Yeah, I think it shocked all of us here.
But,
it's crazy.
Side note, and I know this is our sacred animal portion, it just also amplifies how Minnesotans in particular are out there fighting ice, and we appreciate them, and holy macro, it's been cold, and we've been showing our resilience as people.
Absolutely. So if you see any animals stranded or they look hurt, just contact your local wildlife rehabilitation center. We have one here in Minnesota, really close by. It's in Rosedale.
Yeah, Roseville. Yeah,
Roseville. And we've taken animals there in the past. Squirrels. I took a bat there once. Taken a couple of squirrels. But we need our animals need we need help. So we just do. And I was reading this thing. I don't remember if I talked about this on the radio or not. I can't remember. But anyway, we have our crows in the backyard.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they're affected by that cold snap too, and many other animals as well, not just the bald eagles, because it affects everything. But we have a bunch of crows that come almost every day, and they eat. But I didn't realize this, but crows can see a color that we can't. It's called ultraviolet. And their feathers have pretty patterns on them, like peacocks.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're all colored in ultraviolet. So they look black to us, but to each other, they look bright and brilliant. Bright and brilliant, like peacocks to each other.
Crazy.
Yeah, I would love to be able to see ultraviolet. That would be really...
I bet you can get some goggles.
I bet you they have ultraviolet.
I bet you they do.
They have those. They have those. They're like a sunglass, right? They're sunglasses, and they can help people who have colored blindness see color. I've seen that. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I've seen people who are colorblind, and they're given these sunglasses, these special sunglasses for colored blindness. I think they're very expensive, so it's like a family gets together and gets their person this gift, and then for the first time they put them on and they see color, and it just like they just look around and it's just like, oh my God, they're like astonished, so like the family will blow up a whole bunch of colorful balloons or bring them to some place that's really colorful. I can't imagine going through life and just seeing black and white. It must just kind of,
that is
the
a
Wizard
bummer.
of Oz movie when Dorothy gets to the Munchkin land and everything turns to color.
When she opens the door.
Like that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
And then it's even cooler when you sink it to the dark side of the moon.
Right. Exactly. How much? Oh, we're done.
Yeah, we got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Say
Listen,
your piece.
there's a lot of animals out there who were stranded because their parents were taken by ice. Check out your shelters, and let's donate to them and help these animals in the shelters.
And maybe adopt them until they can grab their own babies back, babies back.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hey, we'll be back.
Ever wonder how far you could go with a bachelor's or master's degree? Metro State University is hosting 2 open